Welcome to Sports from the Couch.
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
With your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Hello and welcome in, friends, to another edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. It is an emergency show here on Sports from the Couch on a Tuesday, March 16th, 2021, in the greatest city in the world, the city of Chicago, Illinois. The Bears have a new quarterback. It's not Russell Wilson. It's not Deshaun Watson. It's not even Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ladies and gentlemen, your new quarterback for the Chicago Bears, Andy Dalton. We got to talk about it right here on Sports from the Couch. We are live on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves, and you're going to be able to watch this video on YouTube at Mercado Airwaves. But before we get into today's show, we want to take care of some housekeeping notes. Follow me on Twitter at MikeMedia, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and you could keep up to date with the show. Talk to us, especially when we have breaking news like this, on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. And of course, like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. So we do have a new quarterback here in Chicago. Let me go ahead and get the old phone because there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about. I want to be able to connect with you while we're doing this. Make sure you are following us here on Facebook. We will be taking your comments. We will be talking about them. We are here to be with you on this big day. It is, it's interesting. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give people a chance to join us here in just a second, allow people to get into the room where people are getting home from work. Hopefully everybody's safe and sound. Hopefully you've all been safe and sound. And yeah, the big news, Andy Dalton, the new quarterback for your Chicago Bears. And this just goes to show that you have to, it's hard to, at this point, to be talking about it. Because it's, expectations and reality have to be put into perspective here. All right, before we get into the complete breakdown, let's be honest about where we're at right now as a fandom and where we have to realize what was going on this entire situation. I think this is a case, and covering pop culture and seeing how a lot of people, they psych themselves up and they start creating their own narrative and their own end game. And what happens when it doesn't turn out that way? Not only are you disappointed, you are angry. You blame people. And understandably so, when it's more of a real thing like sports where there's so much investment, but you see the correlation, right? You psych yourself up. You start playing out scenarios that aren't there. Now, in this case, I think there was a lot of smoke. I think there were embers of fire around. That could have been this thing that Russell Wilson ends up in Chicago. But it was such a long shot for that to happen to begin with. And that right there is the problem in this entire conversation. It's going to be all the bullets and points that I make tonight, all the comments that you make, the conversation down the road in the future. They put themselves in this position. There's no one else to blame but the organization. And that's just it. They were going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to pull themselves out of this misery that they put themselves in. So a lot of people were expecting this Hail Mary to work out, that the Bears were going to come out here and it was going to be this huge thing that they're able to get Russell Wilson. And we knew that at the end of it, this was still the least case scenario. And we knew what it was going to take, and there was a lot of red flags about why this trade wasn't going to happen, from cap hits to roster availability to capital. We understand that. But it doesn't change the fact that you had to go down that rabbit hole because you were led that way. That's the other thing, too. And it goes into that pop culture reference. If the director or the studio are leaning you one way and then they don't deliver, you have a right to be angry, to be upset. And that's the case here. And we'll get to all that in 1 second. Let's do a quick check. Let's make sure all the audio sounds good. And let's make sure you guys are Yeah, we are all good on Facebook. Make sure you're leaving comments. Let me know your thoughts. We are talking about this together. We're going to work through this together. And Andy Dalton, your new starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Is he the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears? I don't know. We will have to talk about. We'll have to break that down, but that'll be something that will be in the road in just a little bit. And we can go ahead and let's take a look at some of these notes that I made that I wanted to get into. And from Jump Street, all right? It's a 1-year, $10 million deal, right? Interesting number, especially when you start looking around the league, like what Jameis got, what Cam Newton got. And a lot of this has to do with Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, that he was one of the guys that coached your new quarterback for the Bears in Cincinnati. Again, how much did you love the way this offense looked? Did you like how this offense looked on Nickelodeon in a playoff game? You know, when they backed into the playoffs? So, okay, they got a guy that they're comfortable with, that they're familiar with. Isn't that what Nick Foles is brought here for? Was because the coach knew him and he could run the offense? You got to be good too. You know, I know how to play football. I play Madden. I play fantasy football. Put me out there. See how well that goes. Like, I get it. These are talented dudes still because they're in the NFL, but there's levels to this game still. And Andy Dalton is your choice. And, you know, this is so uninspiring. That's what I put here. Uninspiring. You have Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson as this pipe dream, right? Mind you, Deshaun Watson, number 4, should be a Bear right now, already. Period. Conversation over. He should be a Chicago Bear already. But of course, you screw that up, so you try to make it right by, you know, moving hell and earth, moving everything to try to get him, and you don't. Okay. And it was impossible to get that move for Russell Wilson. Look at, again, we talk about it being a pipe dream. That doesn't make that they should get credit for making a move or trying to make a move. They had no choice. They had no choice but to try to make a move like that. They put themselves in that position. It's uninspiring. How are you supposed to be, as a Bears fan, how are you going to trust this team? Look at Mike Lennon. You scouted Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, right? You bring in Nick Foles, right? Now you want Andy Dalton? Does that sound like it's going to work out? Does that sound like you're just not repeating history? The same insanity over and over again? You know, I heard somebody say it. We've seen them lose this way. We've already seen them go down this road and lose. Now, how about we try it a little bit different? Why don't you try with the superstar quarterback? It's just a little bit food for thought, right? Practically speaking, okay, let's first, second, table everything that we were talking about when it comes to who could have been here, why they should have been here. Okay. What about this roster now? What are you going to... Allen Robinson, is he going to be here? Does this mean you have money now to pay him? This cheap organization, they're going to say they're not cheap, this cheap organization? Because guess what? Andy Dalton by himself isn't doing it. That ain't the one. So what do you do now? How do you keep your guy, one of the top 15, 20 receivers in the league, right? Semantics, it doesn't matter. A top tier guy. Look, he's been good with Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky. But man, how does this get you any closer to signing a superstar? Mind you, in a division with Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and, Aaron Rodgers. No big deal. It's crazy. That right there is what leaves me speechless. Where this puts you moving forward. But I say that because it looks like we're going to have a Bears quarterbacking room with Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, and probably a rookie, right? And we'll get to the rookie stuff in a little bit. Does a general manager or a head coach who are on the quote-unquote hot seat put their career on the line with Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, and a rookie? Now, the rookie thing, okay. You bring in this rookie, you guys are okay. These guys are bridge quarterbacks. You could be like, hey, well, we have a rookie. We need time to develop. We have to see how this plays out. Please, George, Ted, we got to see how the offense works together. That's a great question. We're here to do collaboration, me and Matt. These guys are not on the hot seat. These guys aren't going anywhere. You have seen this before. Maybe not to the same level, but you have seen this in ownership, not just with the Bears. You've seen it around this city if you're a sports fan. These dudes are going nowhere. Matt Nagy probably has a better chance of losing his job because he's a head coach in the NFL. But Ryan Pace, the boy wonder from New Orleans, that man is going nowhere. He is their football guy. We always talk here, you and I, say, why doesn't this Bears team get football people? People that know what they're doing, like in Pittsburgh or Green Bay. And instead, your football guy, your representation in these owner meetings to try to get your team better is Ryan Pace, a McCaskey, and Ted Phillips. George, Ted, and Ryan. What a trio. That is the brain trust. He's going nowhere. Nowhere. Because a man or a woman who's desperate to keep their job, that knows that they could do the right thing, that knows all they need is to make an adjustment here and there. They don't sign Andy Dalton. They don't keep Nick Foles. They don't hope at pick 20 that they're going to find their franchise quarterback. And let's get to that, right? Mac Jones, the name everybody loves. Hey, I'm down for a rookie quarterback, right? I'm down for, let's try an experiment. I was down for Sam Darnold. Especially, well, he's not going to be great on the Jets, so maybe, right? You're not going to go from 20 to anywhere near one of these top quarterbacks. Lawrence, Wilson, Jones, it doesn't matter. We know, because we've just had this conversation. People are desperate. And if you're a top draft pick, you're either on the hot seat or you just got a new job. So those two things mean you want a quarterback. You want the excuse to, I need more time, or this is the guy I'm hitching myself on, right? Quarterbacks are going to be gone by 20. And you don't have the assets to move up. Because if you did, you would have gotten Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. It's that simple. 1 + 1 = 2. Sky's blue. It's that simple. Don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. That right there, that should make you angry. That once again, they were ill-prepared for any of the scenarios. Can't move up from 20. Can't do it. These dudes are going nowhere. These dudes are going absolutely nowhere. This is your brain trust for this Bears organization. And you've seen it. We talked about it. That they were going to say, it was a pandemic year. I'm really excited about the guys. We're fired up. Ryan Pace used every trick in the book to make an excuse for a 500 team that backed into the playoffs, that went on a 6-game losing streak, that made a horrible quarterback switch, that drafted the wrong quarterback. They prepared you for, we need more time. Unbelievable. It's laughable. It is laughable. And here's the thing, right? This is the NFL. The Bears can go 9-7, 10-6, win the division. Andy Dalton can have an okay season, right? We know this is all possible. Doesn't make it right. Do two wrongs make it right? Does the ends justify the means? That we're here right now in this position at 6:30 on a Tuesday evening after all of this? I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take. Let's look at some of these comments. We'll go in. This is from Gonzalito. Absolutely laughable. They paid $10 million when Dallas paid less. And look, we could go into the money, and the NFL contracts are so weird. The money doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, cool. Like, every reason, go right ahead. It's not the money. We've seen this team pay Nick Foles. We've seen them play Mike Glennon. This is nothing new. It's just, why are you in a position why you have to get Andy Dalton? Our boy Sean Anderson, new owners. It'd be nice, right? It'd be nice, but how do you get rid of this moneymaker? That's the thing that we, as a Bears fandom, have to come to a realization, right? It's the beauty of being able to have this platform of being able to be a fan, but also having a critical eye on them, okay? We as Bears fans, we love this team. We love football. We love sports. But we reward this team with money, with merchandise sales, TV rights, our fandom, our loyalty. They make these moves. They feel Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy don't need to talk to you because they'll show up. Soldier Field will be filled when this pandemic is over. We can have mass capacity. You're telling me you don't think you're going to be going to Soldier Field? Any of us when we can? Cheers. Got some tea. Got me fired up, man. It is what it is. We know it's a cash call. They're not going to get rid of it. A-Rob probably will be traded. I mean, he hasn't signed the franchise tag yet. And we know in the NFL it's a little bit different than the NBA. Like, these dudes need their money. They want to sign for the money. You can't blame them. It is what it is. You can't blame them. Maybe, again, you can't. I know where you're coming at. But you can't make then this move of Andy Dalton and Nick Foles and not have Allen Robinson. It's the Bears. They totally can screw this all up. But I don't think you can do that, right? Like, I don't think you can put those guys out there without having him. Are you going to go out there with the Darnell Mooney as your one? You're going to trust Anthony Miller? I mean, I like David Montgomery, but I think Cole Kmet is the second coming? I don't know, man. You better find a way. Here's another one from Shawnee. Pace and Nagy were supposed to be these gurus, but have flopped over and over again. And it's that, this is my thing about Nagy, right? And it's just because it's wrong or it's right the ends don't justify it. I think Matt Nagy's offense, the scheme, the idea of it works. We've seen it work around the league. Whether this is the dude that's able to implement it and get the best out of his guys, I don't know. And from as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't able to do it with the quarterback. Ryan Pace has scouted pretty okay. That defense is good. They've gotten the best out of it that they can. You did get Khalil Mack. You mortgage your entire future, which is what I find funny too. You were willing to mortgage your future as a Bears fan, not the front office. Because as we found out, Adam Schefter was reporting, they did go all in. They're not going to get credit for it, but they did do that. Because I'm not going to, if I don't give the White Sox credit for offering Manny Machado a contract, I'm not going to let it for the Bears. Salute. It's with the Ryan Pace and the roster that he's built. I mean, it's been good enough for one playoff team and another playoff team and a bad season in between. And I keep telling you, though, in the NFL, there's such a quick turnaround. Who's to say that there isn't another GM out there that can do that? That it's interesting points. We got some more comments. I'm going to jump into my other thread that we have, and we can see it from over here. So we got some more when the news initially broke. This was again from Sean Anderson. Definitely disappointed, but that's life as a Bears fan. Reports we made aggressive offer for Wilson, but Seahawks said no. We better have made an offer on Watson too. And this is what we've been talking about. They don't get credit for any of that. They don't get credit for it. They definitely don't get credit for trying to go after Deshaun Watson. Hell no. They're not getting credit for that. Here's some interesting one. This is from our boy Matt McCullough, who, by the way, is a brand new daddy. Congratulations, Matty. Much love to you, the lady, and the baby. Man, we would be fools to trade away our future for Russ. Let's start there. Top 5 quarterback in the league. You don't do anything in the NFL without a great quarterback. You don't. You can get pretty damn close. But when we're talking about getting there, you don't do it without a top-tier quarterback. And again, if you were okay with mortgaging all that for Khalil Mack, you got to be okay with it for a 32-year-old, 33-year-old who's going to be in the league for 10 years. My opinion. Matty X continues with, he wouldn't come to the Bears if we destroyed our team. If we can land Mac Jones, we'll be looking good. This is a bit bust-heavy draft. Mac is best QB in the draft, and he is rated 5th by most people. Hopefully we trade up for Jones, but if we trade up for one of the others, we're screwed. And again, right, I understand where you're coming from, but this isn't, we want it to be fantasy football and Madden. And you and we actually had this conversation on that thread. A lot people value those draft picks because it's job security. You're able to sell that to ownership. And it's going to take a lot to go from 20 to top 10. Quarterbacks are going to go early. Job security, job security, job security. There's only how many jobs that you can have in the NFL. That's just the truth of it. As much as we want, as much as we see how much common sense it would make, that's just the truth right there. Here's another one from Gonzalito. Getting Dalton is putting another Band-Aid on a wound the sides of Lake Michigan. He is terrible. Not really. Excuse me. Is he terrible? Not really. But he's not what the Bears need and definitely not worth $10 million. I know it's beating a dead horse. This goes back to drafting Mitch. And it's not in him because he's tried to live up to his pick. But drafting him and not Watson put the Bears in a position that they try to get him now, which costs more than they can afford. I've said it before, the Bears operate like WWE. As long as the money is coming in, they'll continue to give us subpar season after season. 100%. It's a moneymaker, and you're paying for your past sins. That's what this Bears team is doing. And I understand when people are saying you mortgaging your future would have been then them paying the sins from the father, right? The son paying the sins of the father. You got to be in the position. You got to be in the ball game. You got to give yourself that chance. Oh boy, Zach, a barely, if at all, upgrade over Nick Foles. Man, you're preaching. Speak on it. It's the truth. Like, what's the difference between Nick Foles and Andy Dalton? The hair by that much? Like, man, it's... And remember, they brought in Nick Foles because he could run the offense, and that's their guy. Now Andy Dalton knows how to run Bill Lazor's offense. Man, you keep going back down that well. How about you go after talent? This is from Ambro. Pace is fire and garbage is hot garbage. He is absolutely hot garbage. This was the boy wonder. Look at, he's made some good moves, right? A dead clock is right twice a day, right? Richard Heary. Richie, I love being a Packers fan. Yeah, it must be nice. It must be nice. How many receivers does that team always just seem to go through? What's up with that? Oh, it's because they have a top 2 quarterback in the NFL, the MVP? Man, if only Ryan Pace had a 2/3 of a chance, right? He could have gotten 1 or 2 out of 3 guys. And he picked wrong. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And like, you just go through some of these tweets, like from Sylvie. You could have had Andy Dalton last year, but you couldn't wait to give up a 4th round pick when you lacked draft capital. Now you couldn't wait to spend 10 to 13 million on Dalton when you lack cap space. Yeah, you know, who were they bidding against? San Francisco? Let John Lynch make that move. Go ahead. Go right ahead. You know, and it gets me thinking like, okay, so it wasn't worth Carson Wentz? Like, you weren't willing for that move? Because I get it. Like, no, trust me, I get it at this point. We're talking bottom of the barrel. But, like, okay, Russ wasn't ever going to happen. Now, Deshaun Watson, you probably don't even deserve to make happen. Wouldn't you mess around and see what you could do with Carson Wentz? He's in the best scenario in Indianapolis, obviously. But, again, like Sam Darnold. And now are the Jets either just waiting straight up, like we'll wait till after, I think it's July 1st or June 30th, whatever the day is that the cap hit goes down on Russell Wilson. But like the draft, will the draft have happened already? So let's say in this scenario whether or not the NFL draft has happened. Are they waiting? Are they not going to draft the quarterback? Are they going to move Sam Darnold? Are they going to move that number 2 pick? What's going on with Miami? Like, these are the interesting things that are breaking us down right now. Let's see what else we have. Let's keep going. Yeah, I mean, they got crushed on social media. Michael Wilbon, I'm angry about the Bears signing Andy Dalton. This guy, Ryan Pace, should be fired, if this is all he can do. He and Matt Nagy have led the Chicago Bears to ruin. And again, yeah, Matt Nagy, I mean, he's a coach though, right? Like, he's not building it, and I get he has input on it, but this is Ryan Pace. Never forget, this is Ryan Pace. I'm not getting off that horse right there. That is what it is. Let's see. All right, this is a funny one. Woo, this one should make you angry, especially if you're like me and you guys like putting some allowance on, DraftKings or FanDuel, or if you're here locally, Bet Rivers, Points, whatever, all these other places. With the addition of Andy Dalton, the Bears Super Bowl odds at William Hill go from 40-1 to, drumroll please, 50-1. They went from 40-1 to 50-1. This team, by the way, maybe I'm a little salty about that one because I actually put some money on them before they were pulled from the books when the rumors were super hot that Russell Wilson was going to be here. So I have them as NFC champions, NFC North champions, and Super Bowl champions. Thanks, Ryan. Oh man, look it. We can do this all day. We got some more from Mr. Medina. All right, let's do the Dallas paid $3 million and we paid 10. Yeah, man, you let Jerry Jones finesse you. Mind you, they just paid a bunch of money for Dak, and they had really no choice because of that injury. Circumstances were different. But yeah, I mean, Ryan Pace outbid himself. Who was Ryan Pace going against? San Francisco? Again, let John Lynch do it. Just let him. We got this from Nelly. The Bears are sad and continue to be bad news Bears as long as they keep living in the past. Get a damn black quarterback or someone needs to start a new football team to keep up with the times. Geez. Look it. I'm not afraid to say we keep it 100, right? Like, we keep it funky here. Yeah. It's a little interesting. It's a little interesting why Deshaun Watson just wasn't good enough to be drafted. Wink, wink, wink. But, okay. Yeah. And it goes back out another organization. I mean, it'd just be cool because, cool, more football in the city, but they're not going anywhere. Nothing's happening with this Bears team. Nothing's happening with this fandom. Even the people who say, I'm not watching them. Yeah, maybe you're not going to root as hard. You're just going to hate more, though. That's just it. You're going to care more. And it's not like in today's NFL, we're just only watching Bears games. That's what's also very frustrating for people, too, is you see good football. You see good football for 8 hours every Sunday, and then on a Monday, and then on a Thursday, and sometimes on a Tuesday, even on a Wednesday. That right there is why Bears fandom is a lot smarter now. It's not just the super fans liking the Chicago Bears and that, that guy is going to come in and win another Super Bowl. And it's just crazy. I'm worked up. I need a beer. Work one for the working man. Oh, this comes from our friend Andy Lonsky. Let me take it home one of these days. This is Noka. Oh no, hipsters. Salute everybody. Need some adult beverage. That's not bad. You guys can see it right here. I refuse to drink anything Chicago local right now. I'm upset. Another one for my friend Mr. Medina. As much as I hate to say this, and I don't wish it on anyone, but if the Bears are ever to get better, Virginia has to kick the bucket and let one of her kids take the reins. Hate to say it because it's unbecoming, but at this point, it has to happen. Look, I don't want Virginia to die, but it'd be okay if, she wasn't in charge. Here's the thing, though. George is in charge. Ted is in charge. And they just told us that Ryan Pace is their football guy. Look, it is what it is. I don't even think when Virginia's gone, this changes. Because how much input does she have? She has some, obviously. But, I mean, yeah, Queen Elizabeth of the North, I don't know if I don't think it matters. I get the frustration. I do. No, I do. It does. But, it's, to me, her being in charge is kind of like this, right? They come, Ted, George, Ryan, Matt, they all come up with it. hey, Virginia, we have two options. This one, scenario A, really good. Here's scenario B. No, 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 no. She looks at it and she's like, I would prefer if you guys chose scenario B. But Ma, A is better. But I would prefer, old mom of me would really like if you went B. I think it's persuasion that she has. It's her team, right? Like, she makes the final decision. But don't get off the fact that even if that's the case, she okayed Ryan Pace being the football guy. That's it. Like, she okayed it. George okayed it. Ted okayed it. And here's the truth, too. Even when she was more spry, even if there were different faces, they haven't won a Super Bowl since 85. Like, it's not like this team was swimming in Super Bowls. That's why anybody under the age of, 32 could give a damn. This is the charter franchise of the National Football League. What are we doing here? We got some more from Nelly. She's in charge. Bears going to keep on being garbage until they change the game up. Race really isn't an issue. It's talent. It's some damn good QBs they passing up on. 100% too, right? Like, there's nuance to that conversation. There's reading in between the lines. Take it out of the equation. 100%. 100%. They're constantly missing. But more importantly, not just missing. They're always in bad positions that they can't make moves. Because they're signing Mike Glennon. Because they're signing a Nick Foles. Because, and not just signing, you're trading assets for Nick Foles. Signing Andy Dalton, they keep putting themselves in bad positions. So not only are they scouting horribly, but then they're doing horrible moves financially and putting themselves in bad positions where they don't have any draft capital. Yeah, you guys are 100% right to feel all these type of emotions, all these type of ways. And as I continue, just to kind of look around here, any final news, notes, and thoughts as, we start wrapping up this reaction and how this is all breaking down. I know a lot of people are upset, rightfully so. You should be upset as a Bears fan because you've been led to believe that changes had to have been made, that people knew that eyes were on them, that they had to perform, that they had to do something to reignite not just the fandom, but the momentum this organization felt like it had a few years ago. Right now, how far does Double Doink feel? It's a lifetime ago, especially in the National Football League. So Andy Dalton, the new probably starting quarterback of your team. Here's kind of where we'll leave it at this point for tonight. And trust me, this story isn't going anywhere. We'll continue to talk about it over the weeks. This is kind of just where it's at. Do you trust Matt Nagy to put Andy Dalton in the best position to win? Or do you think he is stubborn like he's been, refuses to change anything in his philosophy, and just goes with it? Do you believe Ryan Pace is going to learn how to scout a quarterback, how to play poker with other general managers, and put the Bears in the best position to get their guy come draft time? Because at the end of the day, we could blame Virginia. Sure. Yeah, if we cut the head of the snake, yeah, all the problems go away. That's not going to happen. Before you get to that, you got to get through the rest of the castle. And these are the guys who are ahead of that. Do you trust that these are the dudes who are going to take your organization to the next level, to the next step, to get things right? No. No. Absolutely not. They haven't earned that from you. Treat this like you would any corporation, any job. It's a results business because you're part of this business. Your money, your kid's attention, your nephew, your niece, your time, your valuable time. It is time for you to make your voice heard. If you're sick of not just being middle of the pack, but being incompetent, you got to stop rewarding them because they have just shown you they don't care. And we have to be fair, and we talked about it. It was a pipe dream for Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. Why? Because you put yourself in a bad position, you got caught with your pants between your legs, and you are the reason why you didn't have Deshaun Watson. It wasn't anybody else. It was you. So at the end of the day, we're now here in purgatory, in NFL hell. This is what it's like to be the 7th, 8th, 9th seed in the NBA. This is what it's like to be an 81-win team in Major League Baseball. Charter franchise. 3rd largest market. Most NFL championships. The Bears. And this is the crap that keeps happening. And it's not, take the names out of it. It's how we got here, how they got here, and how now you as a fan are expected, yay, bear down, Chicago Bears. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, they might as well bring Lovey back. I mean, after, he's in Houston now, but after what happened for the Fighting Illini, I don't know if we want that to happen anymore. But guys, that is it. I love you all so much. Look at, we'll get through it. We're Bears fans, right? We watch the NFL. We know things are a little tough, but if you're looking for a little of a glimmer of hope, bring some defensive players back, get some offensive linemen. The NFL, you get a win here and there, you sneak a win here and there, you upset a team. 10-6 is possible. So is 4-12. But we'll talk about it throughout the entire offseason heading into training camp. Thank you guys so much for making us a part of your day. Follow us all over the universe. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. We're on Instagram and Facebook. You can like us here on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag, teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. What else? I don't know. You know what to do. You guys have been listening to us. Thank you so much. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other's. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your night. And enjoy all the games. You have been listening to Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.